Hello, this is Bruce from elam.org, and I also do a site with my wife called eFilipino Women. So you might have seen me from those two channels and sites. And I'm addressing a question that came from somebody who saw one of my older videos, and it's Eric Lee. He says, very informative and helpful video. Looking forward to a video for tips on making a resume. So Eric, this is for you. Alright, so resumes is something I've done a lot, and I'm just going to tell you my techniques, Eric, something that's worked for me. And just to show you kind of an overview of what I've done, especially for going into the interview, is I normally do this. I don't know if you can, hopefully you can see this, but it's I get a clear binder from Avery, and this is called a Flexi View presentation, and as you can see it has like a see-through binding, so it allows you to actually have all of these sections here. And this is what I do for the interview. We'll get into the content of the actual resume, but when I go into an interview, my purpose is to inform them as much as possible so they can make a decision on the spot. If they have everything that they need when I go into the interview, then I have a better chance of actually winning that interview. And that's the way I see it. And I can tell you that this really does work, because every time that I've done this, I'll make like 3 different ones, and I'll give them to all the people who are interviewing me. Or if it's just 2 people, I'll give it to 2 people interviewing me. And every time I do it, a smile, I could see them smile, because they've never seen it before. And sometimes what I'll do is I'll go an extra step, and I'll have like a disc here, and the disc will have a digital copy of all of these items. And the stuff that I have in here is usually a cover letter. That's kind of extra, but I have a cover letter in the front just explaining why I want to go to their company. And then the resume, of course, which will break down each part of that. And then the references, so that if they want to hire me on the spot, they could just start calling my references. Usually I'll put 3, and I don't normally have like manager, but normally I want manager type references. I usually have coworkers there. DD-214, this is for people who have been in the military. It's just proving, hey, I got an honorable discharge. I was in the military. Here was my job description, my AFSC, my MOS, to give them some more context of what my background is. Training, but you can also put things like certifications, degrees, and another one that I'll do sometimes is a clearance. I'll tell them, here's my clearance level, and here's the last time my clearance was adjudicated. Here's the dates for it. And so that's something you typically can't really put on your actual resume. So, but when you're in the interview, you can tell them if a secret clearance is needed, then you can just go ahead and put that in here. So this is a really good thing to do, and it's worked for me many times. So I would highly recommend this if you get the interview. Let me show you the results of what I've been able to do with resumes. Now, part of it, it's like a 2-part process. You want to put the correct content in the resume, but you also want to advertise the resume as much as possible. And those are the 2 main things that this video is going to be about. So I just want to show for a quick minute here what this method has done for me. This is just a quick glimpse into my inbox, and as you can see, I've got lots of different opportunities here. And it started off in the morning, and it just doesn't quit until the end of the duty day. And this is every day. I get this amount of emails for different jobs, and most of these are from recruiters. Sometimes I get direct calls from recruiters telling me about different jobs that are out there. Some of them, as you can see, the ones from Simply Hired, are just alerts, and I'm going to show you how to actually set up an alert as well. But I just want to let you know that this is extremely effective, what I'm about to show you. Maybe it's not the most, I'm not sure what other people do. This is just what has worked for me in doing this. Next up, what I want to show you is the content of my resume. So it's pretty basic, and I'm not going to focus too much on the template. I can show you ways to create a template, a very pretty, nice template here. I'll just show you real quick. If you go to just regular Google Drive, it allows you to create a document. You click on this side menu right here, and you'll see different templates, resumes, letters, and you can cover letter. You can do it with this letter. It says spearmint letter. Probably do it with that. But there's different kinds of resumes here. Let's just go ahead and take a look at one of these. And typically they don't. When you're first starting out, when you're first putting your resume out there, the format of the resume doesn't matter unless you're uploading the resume into a certain database or something and they want a certain format. Yeah, then the template does matter. But I don't know that there's a specific template. I can't say that you want to do this Coral template. That's, for me, it hasn't been the actual template hasn't swayed people's ideas of me one way or the other. The content is what was the most important thing. So I want to focus on that. Okay, so as you can see on my resume, it starts off with my name. And then this is my top certification. If you have more than one certification or a license, that's going to affect somebody's decision to hire you. You should put it right up here. If you're a licensed practitioner nurse, you should put LPN right up here, right up top, because you want them to know right off the bat. You want to start with something powerful. And so if you have a master's degree, if that's the top thing you have, if you have a PhD, put it up here. Say, Bruce Brown, master PhD. If I had a PhD, I'd put PhD right there. And then now this next section here is the title of the job description the title of the job that you're going to go for. This should be the actual job title you're going for. If you're targeting this particular resume for being a nurse, you should put, LPN right here. The job title that you're going for is what you should put up here. Not what you're currently at, but what you're going to do. You should put it right in the title. If it's just a generic, what I'll do is if I'm going for a generic security position, I do information system security. I'll just put, and I don't know if it's going to be enterprise security analysis. I don't know, because they always have different names. It could be an information system security officer, information system security manager. There's all these different names out there. If I'm just going for, I know that it's going to be like an information system security person. I'll just put something generic like information system security, and that's it, or information system security officer. It's broad enough to where I can get a job in this large spectrum of things that I would like to do. The next one is my phone number. You want to give them a way to contact you. Now, a couple of things here. If you want to kind of guard your phone number for whatever reason, you could just use a 1-800 number, and I totally understand that. And then, of course, you want to give them an email that they can reach you at. It's very, very important. I mean, you don't want to give them your name and your title and then not give them some method of getting back with you as soon as possible. The next thing I do is I put my top, I put something with impact right in the front as bulleted statements. Now, it could be your top certifications, it can be your degrees, it can be how many years of experience you have, or it can be all three. If you feel it's overkill, then you could just take one out. Like for me, this is probably overkill. I probably wouldn't. I don't normally put the certs on top. But yeah, you could totally do that, because I feel like it's already redundant. I already have my cert my top cert right there, so that should actually be enough. So what I'm gonna do is go ahead and remove this and leave the degree on top degree, and when I graduated, just to give them some impact, just give some quick impact. Then my years of experience. And let me just, so in this first one here, we got 10 years of experience serving and interacting. Let's say you don't have many years of experience. Maybe you're just starting out. You only have 1 year and you worked in fast food industry or health, a place where you're a janitorial position and you want to go into IT. don't put it. You know, don't put that there. If that's something that can be conceived as a weakness, remove it. Let's say that I only had 2 years experience and it had nothing to do with IT, but I'm trying to go into IT. I would not put it there. That's what I would do, so that I can retain my impact. My impact here is my certification. Let's say you don't have a certification. I'll show you a trick to where you can still add the certification and it's not a lie. Okay? Just bear with me. Let's just get through the rest of this. Because I want to cover your job descriptions. Your past history of jobs is what they normally call it. Your past history. So if you're currently employed, what you do is you just put the company that you're working with, your current job description, the time frame of when you were working. So most resumes have this same formula, you know. So don't think I'm making some new formula up here. Normally have the company, location's another thing you could put in there, the job title, and then the in this template they have the month to present. So it's really, you know, typical stuff here. Let's keep going. And now, what's equally important, and this is something that I learned in the military, is to have statements about what you did that is directly to the point and it has some sort of an impact. Right here, what I'm trying to tell them, what I actually did for this company. So let's just stick with this first statement here. Primary developer. I'm the main developer. I'm the main guy of the system security plans for several mission essential systems. All right. So that's impact. I'm telling them I was a primary developer of the system security plans. Right. So if you're doing custodial work and you're going for a job of head custodian, you probably want to say something like, you're the head custodian leading 4 different people on 5 different buildings across your county, and you cleaned a total of 15 different business areas. You know, something like that, something with an impact that's going to tell them your level of experience, because that's what the past history is supposed to reflect. Okay, let's keep moving. I want to tell you something very important to put in your resumes, and that's keywords. Here you see a lot of things that you probably, if you're not in IT, if you're not in systems, even if you are in IT, you probably don't know what these things are. This NIST 800-37 risk management. You probably have no idea what that is. But people in my industry do know what this is, and that's why I put that in there. Because I know that when these recruiters are out there searching for stuff for their corporation, they're looking specifically for these keywords. And so I made sure that they're in there, and I put them in a sentence. I said, provided assistance for NIST 837 risk management, and then I put FSMA and NIST 800. Again, these are words that you don't know. If you're not in my industry, you won't know what this means, and you need to do the same thing. Whatever industry you're in, you need to indicate that you have experience with that thing. If it's custodial work, you know, it's probably cleaning carpets. You know what kind of chemicals to use. You've cleaned X amount of carpets. You really know what you're doing. That's what you want to reflect in your resume, in every single job you've done. Now let me tell you about that trick. Let's just go right past all of my experience here. And okay, awards, we'll cover that in a minute. I just want to show you something. So what you can do is, if you have keywords that, let's say you're an IT professional, okay? An IT professional, we have something called IT certifications. Let's say you're just doing this. You just have an associate's degree. You really don't have any experience doing this. You're working towards a certification called the CCNA. Here's what you can do to make sure that that keyword is in there. You say professional development, and then you say working towards my CCNA. That way, when the recruiters are looking for people who have that kind of experience, they will find you as well on that list. And you'll be surprised how many companies will say, hey, we're going to hire you, Eric, but in 6 months, you have to get this IT certification. Because we see that you're a hard worker. We've seen your resume. We've seen that you worked on these 3 other jobs. We like it, but you have in this position, you have to have a CCNA. So we're going to give you 6 months to get it. And they'll do it. Now here's another little trick. If you don't want to put your resume out there with adding too much stuff about your security clearance, which this is a very smart thing. It's a very conservative, smart thing that you want to do, is not put too much about your security clearance, and not to put too much about especially if you're in the government side of the house. You probably don't want to indicate too many things about your background and put that in the public space. There's words you can use that will say the same thing with the same level of impact. And here's one of them: security clearance. You can just say, yes, I have a security clearance. You don't have to go into types of security clearances you have or any of that kind of stuff. And then what I normally do is I don't normally put the organization. I could say that I worked with the Department of Defense, or I'll say if I worked with the Air Force, right? I don't go into specific system names, especially if the system was classified. I don't ever put that in there. So you want to be careful about that, because some people do look for that kind of thing. Let me see, what other things can I show you about? Keywords is a real big one for me. Awards, that's kind of an extra thing I put in there. I don't know that it's had any sway on people's decision. I just put, here's some past awards I've done. Here's some certifications, professional certifications. Those are actually very important for my field. In your field, they might be equally important. You will definitely want to put them in there if they're important. The main things I would say about a resume is make sure you have keywords for your specific industry. Make sure you show impact, meaning I worked X amount of years. I did these specific things, and this is the experience I have. That combination of things is going to definitely get you calls from recruiters. So let's go into, now that we have an idea of how to find a template through Google or through Word. You can use Word as well. And we have some idea of what to put as far as impact of our resume. Now let's go into something equally important, and that's, where do you place your resume after you're done? Oh, hey! To see the second part of this video, please, you can click this link, click my face, and it will take you to the next video, part 2. And hopefully this was a helpful video. You definitely want to make sure you check out where to actually put the resume. We've talked about all the keywords, the impact statements that you need to put in the content of your resume, and I kind of mentioned the binder thing. But what's equally important is to broadcast your resume to as many people as possible, and the more people who have your resume, the better, because that's going to give you more exposure, and which means it's going to be in so many people's hands that you're going to be getting so many calls that you're going to actually get annoyed with it. So that's the next segment that I'm going to link right here, and I hope you liked it. If you liked it, please hit like. Don't forget that, and then subscribe if you haven't subscribed already. I've got lots of other very cool stuff coming up, and if you have any suggestions in the comment area, please feel free to put things that you want me to cover. And if I know about it, then I'll cover it. Mainly, in this particular channel, we cover things like jobs, IT stuff, fixing computers. But I can cover lots of other stuff. I know lots about the government. I could tell you how to get government jobs, things like that, I could tell you about, what else can I tell you about? Visa stuff, K1 visa, because I got my wife a visa. But that is on another channel. Just search for Yuri Sincero. That's my wife's name, and then you'll see all of our stuff for that stuff. What else can we talk about on this channel? I talk about risk management framework. I talk about information security stuff, privacy issues, how to get, I could probably talk about business stuff on here, although I'm not really an expert on that, but I could tell you some stuff of how I was able to get slightly successful with it. I could tell you what I know. I mean, what else can we talk about on this channel? Lots of other stuff. But make sure if you want to check out the rest of the resume stuff, click here. This is going to take you to the next resume video, and that will wrap up this segment.